Hi. Are you struggling with the different challenges and symptoms that come along with menopause? And not only that, do you feel like you've just been hit like with a 1-2 punch? Because not only are you dealing with the menopausal issues, but maybe now you've got some cardiovascular disease. Maybe you've recently been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, or maybe you even have metabolic syndrome. If this is the case, I'm here to tell you about a vitamin that is really important to maintaining our health as women as we continue to age. Hi, I'm Sherry, and I'm a menopause health coach, and I work with smart and independent women just like you. And using holistic methods, I can help you get comfortable in your skin again, regain your energy, your confidence, your joy for life, so that you can age powerfully and gracefully and with the best health that you can have. Now, I've been in the health and wellness industry for over 15 years, and if there's one thing I've seen over and over again, it's that as women, we tend to put ourselves at the very back of the line. And by the time we make it to the front of the line, we either have very little energy left to take care of ourselves or absolutely no energy left at all. And our health and our well-being suffers because of it. Now, today I wanted to talk about the importance of vitamin D and what we can do to maintain good, healthy levels of vitamin D so that we can optimize our health. Now, the first thing I've always thought of when I hear vitamin D is bone health. Vitamin D maintains good, healthy bone health. And it does, right? But I was recently on PubMed, and I was reading about the research that they're doing between vitamin D and menopause, and it's actually quite fascinating. Now, low vitamin D levels have been associated with several issues beside just bone health, and that includes cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, metabolic syndrome, depression, impaired cognitive function, some types of cancer, and even increased mortality. Now, as far as vitamin D and menopause, they are actually starting to see that there could be a link between our vitamin D levels and estrogen metabolism. Now, during menopause, as our estrogen starts to decline, there's a lot of things that are happening in our body, but the vitamin D related ones there's going to be an increased bone turnover. There's a decrease in our bone mineral density. And because of those two things, we're at higher risk for bone fracture. And then also we're at an increased risk for heart disease and different metabolic disease. So keeping that healthy vitamin D level is really crucial for helping keep these issues at bay. Now, as we get older, it just happens that our body fat seems to increase while our lean body mass decreases. This also seems to have a link with low vitamin D levels. And they're also studying that low vitamin D levels can actually aggravate certain other symptoms of menopause. And as I said earlier, I think we're all familiar with the idea of vitamin D and bone health. And what vitamin D does when it comes to bone health, vitamin D is actually a hormone, which totally fascinating, right? And it is what helps control the calcium absorption into our bones and thereby reducing our risk of osteoporosis. So obviously, I think it's always easy to think, okay, get more vitamin D, I can always pop a supplement. And I am all for good quality supplements, But I personally am trying to incorporate more natural ways to really get, my nutrients, up, and, you know, do it in a more natural way, so to speak. So here's a couple of good ideas to get your vitamin D levels up. The first thing is get some sun exposure. Now, I know that's kind of like a double-edged sword, because you want to make sure that your skin is protected so you don't risk skin cancer. But what I like to do is sort of piggyback this onto my 15-minute sun exposure in the morning, because that also helps set your circadian rhythm. So during those first 15 minutes in the morning when I get outside, I don't put sunblock on, I let those rays in, and I'm also getting that really good vitamin D. Foods that are really important to incorporate into your diet for vitamin D: fatty fish, mushrooms, egg yolks, different fortified foods. Milk is fortified with vitamin D, orange juice is fortified with vitamin D. Also, maintaining a healthy body weight is important. It's important for everything, right? Taking supplements, like I mentioned earlier, and also, come wintertime, using a UV lamp. Now, to maximize vitamin D absorption, we need to also make sure that our vitamin K levels are at a good amount, that our zinc is at a good amount, and that our magnesium is at a good amount. So you're also going to want to include foods like avocados and nuts and seeds and full fat dairy products. Now, I know that might make some of you shriek back a little bit, but if you're going to do full fat dairy products, please do the organic, grass-fed, pasture-raised, because that full fat, that fatty chain is actually chemically different than a commercially produced cow's fatty chain. And it's so good and so healthy for your body. So just make sure, if you're going to do the full fat dairy, that it is the, kind of the primo dairy. So I'm just curious, what are you doing to make sure you're at the front of the line and your vitamin D levels are where they should be? So go ahead, leave a little comment in the box, and until next time, peace and love.